So normally, or not normally, but sometimes we are starved for content to talk about, and we have a hard time trying to find a particular topic to talk about. Specifically in the last few months, I would say it's been kind of a quiet summer in that regard. And then in the last week, and not only have we had Gamescom, where there's loads of shit you could talk about, but then just outside of Gamescom, there's been just loads of other little bits of news as well to talk about. So we won't be able to talk about everything, but we will talk about any of the things that stood out to us, whether it's a price increase in a console, whether it's games that maybe, surprised us at Gamescom, or a lack thereof of games to surprise us at Gamescom, and how we feel about Gamescom as a whole. We'd love to hear from you guys as well. So hello, everybody, and welcome to the Brothers Take. My name is Chris. I am joined by my brothers, Adam.
Hello.
And Eric.
Hello.
And we are back in the room to talk more gaming, and we want you to join us in the discussion. So if you're watching this on YouTube, jump down in the comments to share your thoughts at any point on anything we bring up from Gamescom or just in gaming in the last week as a whole, or even anything we don't that you feel like, hey, you didn't shout this out, and I'm really excited about it, and you want to tell us why you're excited about that. We'd love to hear your take. If you enjoy this, why not give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell for all future content. If you guys listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to give your take on everything that we bring up here today. But without further ado, let's jump right in.
World premiere.
Yeah, how many?
I wasn't as annoyed by that this time.
Were you not? That's surprising.
No.
I think I was, but mainly because it never or very rarely followed with something to garner any kind of excitement.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be rude, but
for me, it's just more like a joke. Like we should really start doing every time Jeff Keighley's presenting something like that. Take a shot every time world premiere pops up. Like,
text. I think it was just text this time, though, wasn't it? It wasn't like someone voicing world premiere.
Oh yeah,
right?
no.
Yeah, it was just
it was just text.
I think that's why it didn't annoy me this time. But like generally during the Xbox showcases, it's like, okay.
Like, should they not just do world premiere montage of the world premieres? Maybe do like a couple of interviews, then maybe another montage of world premieres, rather than world premiere trailer stop, world premiere trailer stop, like. I get that show a lot shorter.
I think you're bang on, Eric. I think they do need to reformat the show, because I enjoy these shows, but I really felt the length of this one, and it's not even the longest one that we've
3 days
watched, right? But I felt the length of this one, and I don't know if it's just I do think it came from a quantity over quality kind of thing. Like there was lots of games, but I think I would rather watch like 5-10 minute videos where we see a good chunk of a game that maybe is coming in the near future, rather than just here is like a concept or a promise of a game. We're not really ready to tell you what the game is. We're not even ready to tell you like how the game will play, what the game will look like, but here's a name of a game that will come eventually. It's a world premiere.
There's a sweet spot, I think, between the kind of Nintendo Direct's state of play kind of length. Actually, Nintendo Directs are longish, I think. But the state of play length, right? And the length of every Jeff Keighley show.
Right.
There's a sweet spot in there. I think Microsoft have nailed it in terms of how to present. Or sorry, the length of it. I'm not mad about their presentation skills. I think Phil is always much better in interviews than he is on stage. But their length of their show is spot on, I think, because it's, even if there's nothing of interest, you don't feel like you've wasted your time. But then there's enough breathing room in there between the games that doesn't feel like bang, 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 bang.
How long is it? Because I didn't get around to seeing it.
Which?
The Xbox ones. How long?
Oh, I didn't see that one. I'm just in general, I think Xbox are...
I don't know how length it.
I think I went on to look at it, and I think because I remember saying to you, Eric, oh, I think there's an Xbox one too, but I think I got that wrong, and I think it was called the Xbox Live Booth, but really what that was is like, this is like people,
isn't it?
Yeah, this is like people who want to sit in and watch like sports all day on, like, in the pub. It's it's like it was like a 6-hour thing, and it was like you come in and check in, they talk a little bit about a game they just played, their experience with it. So that's more like you have it on, everyone sits around, maybe has a pint as they're, and it's really
been more of like a Twitch stream nearly.
Yeah, and it's to include people who aren't at Gamescom. I mean, if you're at Gamescom, you are actually on the floor and you get to go play the games. And then you walk around and discuss it. And it's like a Comic-Con, but video games. I'd say it's a great event to be at. Like, I'd say there is a great buzz at it.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate that it was live. There was a nice energy at the very start of the show. And then even the crowd, I think, were getting visibly nonplussed is probably the word I would use as I went on, you know. And I would like to say, like, I think Jeff is great. I really do. And on this show in particular, it looked to me like he was just trying his best. Like, I nearly felt like I could see it in his face that he's trying his best to like keep this exciting, and at times knows that it's not.
I don't think so, because I think this is his type of show, you see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'd love to know who actually organized a lot of this, but I feel like he probably, like, you wouldn't get him involved unless he had some sort of say in what the show was going to be.
Right.
This felt very VGA in how it was like rolling out the types of, you know, the other guests they have on. Like I've never recall seeing Gamescom having a car announcement, a podcast announcement.
That was weird.
A freaking astronaut in space doing backflips. I don't remember.
Your video of that was so fucking funny for two reasons. One, just your voice laughing at it was hilarious, and then two, I had the exact same reaction. It's like the one spin was fine, and it was just like to show that I really am in an antique. This isn't just some set, like I really am in space, right?
Yeah.
But then it just kept going, and she's so expressionless as she's doing it. Oh, that was gas.
It was odd, yeah. But that's the kind of thing you generally see in VGAs. Like Jeff has this. I like Jeff too, but I do think I don't necessarily agree. I think with his vision, so to speak, he wants the games industry to have the recognition that the Oscars would have.
Yeah.
No one likes the Oscars.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with that.
Someone up to slap someone in the face.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He needs.
So I think it gets.
Imagine.
No one likes the Oscars because it glorifies the people involved in the industry while alienating the people who watch it. And I'm getting a sense of that a little bit with the direction that the Game Awards and Gamescom is going, is that it's very much a glorification of those involved in the industry. That's good. They deserve it. But I feel a little alienated as a player. I don't have the same connection that I would have had maybe at the E3 back in the days, you know?
Yeah.
There's just something about it. I feel a little disconnected with it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's bringing in all these other partnerships and other announcements that I'm just like, this feels very try hard. This is not naturally integrated into gaming. It's, you know, slapping Pokemon into a BMW. It doesn't make it a gaming thing. I can do that myself, really.
It wasn't a BMW. No, but
it was a Mini, wasn't it?
Oh,
it was a Mini, yeah.
It was a Mini, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Ace Man Mini Ace Man.
Sorry, I was just distracted by all the Pokemon colors on it. I think that
I
don't know what it is.
But it's almost like though, if you think about the way the industry is at the moment, it's like because just as you mentioned at the beginning, the price increase of the PS5 console, new storage is getting more expensive. There's outrage at the price of the new Last of Us game. Well, the old Last of Us game is getting remastered.
Remade.
It's already been the remaster.
But it's still like the cost of gaming is a very contentious one. Like it's people are not happy about the increase because it makes the barrier to entry quite difficult. So rocking up with a Mini, who's gonna buy that? Like, you can't afford a PlayStation, you're not gonna be able to afford a Mini.
Yeah.
Who's that for?
Well, so I thought it was a strange one when they were talking about it. It's like you can game in the car, and I was like, uh, when?
Don't though.
When will you game in a car? Right? It's obviously
Yeah.
not while you're driving. It's not even while someone else is driving. It's not even a good idea that the passengers do that while someone's driving, because that is like incredibly distracting.
In their defense,
so
it
then
is
it's
a
what
concept.
when you're parked. I get it. It's a concept that is kind of an interesting concept, but at the same time, I like a vehicle and leisure time. I don't see that. I don't get that. That's not a thing. Like putting maybe built-in gaming things on airplanes for passengers with headphones, that might be cool. In the car, yeah, no. I don't know. Like
Too distracting.
So while you're parked, maybe, but then at that point, it's like, well, where are you parking? Like, surely just go inside and play the game. Like, go
or
in.
just whip out a Switch. A Switch would be way cheaper.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like it's one of those things that if it when it comes out and sells to whoever buys it, I think it'll be for the novelty of it, but not actually for the practical use of it. You know. Yeah, it was a weird one. That was a weird one.
Yeah, I think I had my phone out for most of that one.
Yeah.
Actually, I had my phone out for a lot of these.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, it's a
'cause
bad feeling. Like, 'cause
I
I think it was like 36 minutes in, and I'm like, I'm actually done.
yeah, I feel like these things need to be more like the length of a modern episode, like 40 minutes, maybe 50 if you really got something to show off, but don't really go over the hour mark, unless it's the awards, because the awards obviously have awards and announcements and stuff like that, which I do like. I think the Oscars actually could look at, even though we're saying VGA should stop looking at the Oscars, stop trying to be like the Oscars. I'm like, yeah, they should. Because the Oscars should look at VGA and try to be more like that, in which that like not only do they have the awards, but they like announce movie trailers that are coming out and stuff.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It might make people actually decide to tune in, because I think they're now at their lowest viewings, and probably next year will be the lowest again, and it'll just keep.
I'd say next year will go up higher because they want to see who the fuck gets the shit slapped out of them. Who said what about whose wife, you know,
just
and
who's hosting,
who's keeping it out of whose mouth. I think they'll have a hard time finding a host. And maybe it'll be a similar scenario to last year where they had to have 3 hosts who balance the hosting kind of duties, because I don't think anyone wants to take the heat of being the host of the Oscars anymore anyway, because every time they fucking announced one, there was controversy over it, you know. So it's like, well, at least if there's 3 people, they take it in turns, and no one's carrying the weight of the whole thing at all. But but Eric, you were saying about the Gamescom conference itself. You had your phone out a lot.
Yeah, why not? It's not like everything that was being announced was like, yeah, awesome. It was nearly 2 hours long. Like I think I said, it did take me about 3 nights to finish it, or possibly 2 nights. 2 nights. So I watched a good chunk Thursday night, then watched another chunk Friday before I went to do some work, and then I came back and then finished it off or something, right?
Yeah.
So it did take me kind of 3 goes at watching this, because it was nearly 2 hours long. But there was some of the announcements I was like, okay, cool. But I don't think there was anything there which was, well, I lied. I think there was one game. There's one specific game, actually. I was like, that looks like Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Next level. Next, right. Okay,
we'll get there.
Or like other stuff like Ghost Simulator 3, but 2, but is called 3. I mean,
that's hilarious. That's fucking. I didn't realize that. That's absolutely hilarious. I thought for sure there was a Goat Simulator 2. There isn't. Goat Simulator 3 is the second Goat Simulator game.
So that comes like PlayStation Plus. Like, yeah, I get that. Why not? They're good crack games.
They're funny.
That was one among, because I was watching on YouTube.
Sure.
And that was one among 5 titles that was muted for me.
Yeah, there's a ton muted.
Yeah,
I don't understand why that was. Luckily, I was watching it through GameSpot, and they actually edited it in a way that they put up a kind of a little banner comes up to say muted for YouTube, and they put their own music on top of it. So
maybe I watched it through GameSpot.
That kind of helped a bit, because otherwise, I in the past I remember every time something gets muted, I'm like, what the hell, is there something wrong with my stream? Is there something wrong with my internet or something like that? But that kind of helps understand. I don't understand what the hell is up with YouTube though. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
What the
it's
fuck,
weird.
like?
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it's not like we're going into like for the Lords of the Fallen, let's say, which I thought was a cool trailer. I did play the first one, which was not bad. But they had, I can't remember the name of the song, but they had a song. It was a relatively famous song. But it's not like as if you're gonna watch that trailer and go, wow, what a cool song that the game makers made for this game or something. Or oh, what a cool song.
Well,
that
you can
games
tell by it based with the imagery that's happening. That's like, even if I don't know the band or that song is not part of that game.
Yeah. Like, so they don't
Yeah.
really, like, YouTube needs to be a little, maybe it's just because it's an algorithm and therefore it just has to work off coding. and stuff,
The
but they could
lolly
be-
low.
but they could be a little bit smarter to recognize, yeah, like this is clearly not something that the game makers actually made. Like,
Yeah, no, it's a argument between, I suppose, YouTube and record labels. Like they are just brutal when it comes to any form of usage of their music in anything that they didn't put out. So YouTube rather just cut it out rather than having to deal with that bullshit.
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, I watched the next day the Future Games show, right? And the reason I bring that up is, regardless of the games that are in it, right? So someone might prefer the games that were showing at Opening Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
It was a much better presentation, and I think this one spoke to me a lot more. It started with Christopher Judge and the voice actor who plays Freya from God of War Ragnarok. I can't remember her name, sorry, I'm drawing a blank, but they introduced themselves in the beginning. And then for the rest of it, they narrate over the stuff and they kind of introduce each thing.
Yeah, I mean that's how it's been done in the past.
And it's
right?
and it's all and there's little visuals and things, and it was an hour long. And I was like, this is this is far more engaging to me. And all of the scripting that they had was like, it wasn't aimed at children, but it was appropriate enough that it, you know what I mean, like that kids could watch it. There was nothing inappropriate in it, apart from maybe some of the games content. But they also they weren't talking down to adults, like, you know what I mean. So I thought it was a really well done presentation, and I thought maybe that's more now. It doesn't have that live audience feel, I guess, that that some of the other events want.
There's some awkward cheers.
Yeah, but also it's like, I don't remember this game, and it's just like silence. Like, yeah, okay, well, here it is. Yeah, there's a couple of that. Yeah, but I suppose going into the actual games, then, and we're not going to talk about everything. Eric, you said there was one that actually stood out to you.
I mean, I'm sure there's a few, yes, but like off the top of my head, because there was a lot of games shown, so off the top of my head, there was one where it was just like, yes, give me more. Because it looks like my favorite game of 2020. 2020, thank you very much. But that was Where the Winds Meet or something.
Yeah, Where Winds Meet.
And it's just like it's just Ghost of Tsushima in China, but now with monsters. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and I had a bit of that. I had a bit of that, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of Chinese opera feel to it as well. I thought that looked great.
It looked really cool.
I thought it looked really good. Now there was moments where like I was looking at it and going, "That's very Ghost of Tsushima."
Well, that's why I was like all over this.
I was like, it's nearly derivative. And then the moments where it kind of separated itself from that and was its own thing was where I was like, oh no, but that's really cool and that's kind of new. So that really stood out to me as well. Adam, did you see that one?
I did, yeah. No, I've no interest. I don't know whether nothing actually. Even the games that you think I like, even Callisto Protocol, I thought was a pretty piss poor showcase.
That was not great compared to their other showcases because it just felt very.
I think every single demonstration that was shown here was not good, and it kind of, most of the presentations. I think the first one was the Everywhere one, wasn't it?
Right. Well, and that was my joke about the it's like we're not going to show you anything. We're just like I don't know anything about that game.
It's like I've been here before, right? Listening to a developer telling me everything that's going to be in the game, showing me artwork, saying that I'll be able to create my own worlds and do whatever I want. And to keep talking, I was like, I've heard this so many times, and there's no gameplay really shown.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say it's coming next year. No.
No. I know, and I never believe those claims anyway. Like, I remember when the hype for No Man's Sky was like, the stars were the limit. Like, in terms of
Yeah.
like, everyone was going crazy for this No Man's Sky, and it was going to be like the greatest game ever. And it was just so strange to me that I was like, does no one else feel a little bit skeptical about this? Like, nobody else thinks that sounds absolutely impossible. And it was the same thing like when like, I thought Starfield looked pretty good, but as soon as he said there's going to be over 1,000 planets and they're all explorable, I was like, well, that's not exciting. That is the least exciting thing you've just said.
Yeah.
Because there's no way all of those are going to be fully unique planets. There's just no way.
Or worth exploring.
Most of them would be fucking barren, I would say. And it would be just an opportunity for, it's like, well, I just picked this specific rock to build my little base on, and you picked that rock over there.
Yeah.
No, but everyone's going to have the same rock because the campaign will point them to that one planet that they have to go to first build their settlement. So that will become everyone's main settlement.
Sure. Yeah.
Because the planet is designed to be your first settlement, so it's perfect for it. And then all the others are just a waste of space.
So yeah, that everywhere, no, certainly didn't
No, sure, it looked
draw
like
any excitement. No.
yeah, it looked like Fortnite, and then all of a sudden there's like these really good CGI jokes at the end. It's like,
Yeah.
pick one, and pick the CGI one.
But I think that's the reason I brought that up is that I think it just summarizes not just my issue with the overall show, but with kind of my issue with gaming in general, this generation.
Right.
Is that it is, and it's not, it's not their fault. There's a lot of factors that come into play, but everything feels like either a broken promise, a Soulsborne, a cosmic horror, or a hero shooter. And that's pretty much everything that we've seen at this. That's it.
And goats.
There's no real, well, that kind of plays into like the hero shootery kind of thing in terms of
No, it doesn't. Come on, that's a sandbox.
The silliness of it.
Yeah. You got to fulfill your potential.
Yeah. There's a clownness to it, right? Yeah. That those kind of hero shooters tend to have.
And there was actually clowns in the game show. Killer clowns.
I mean, obviously there's going to be the odd few like the Pirates' Tales and things like that. Just kind of slightly different, but generally speaking, I've found that every game kind of looks the same, and there hasn't been that one. Like even Callisto Protocol, when they showed it, I was like, okay, yes. It seemed like it was going to be Dead Space. This looks exactly like Dead Space. All you've done is just confirmed there's something I already know. I haven't seen anything new. I don't see the point in showing this. Even Hogwarts Legacy. What was the point in that? Why show that? If you're not really going to show anything new, what's the point?
I got a different sense actually from Hogwarts Legacy. I kind of got the sense that if depending on the house you are assigned to or you choose depends on your intro to the game.
Okay. So I think I can clarify some of those points.
Okay.
Because I think I have watched more than you have in terms of interviews and whatnot. And so what they showed off in Hogwarts Legacy, which I liked what they showed, I just wish there was more of. To be honest, with both Hogwarts Legacy, actually with these three games, which were kind of some of the bigger games, I suppose, shown that people may be looking forward to, right? Hogwarts Legacy, Callisto Protocol, Gotham Knights, right? I expected to see a section of gameplay for each. Now, I don't mean a little 2-minute clip. I mean an actual 5 minutes to 6 minutes of here is a actual section of gameplay. So in Callisto Protocol, a really early section of the game where some of the characters' first encounters with the infected or something like that gives us a real sense of the atmosphere and the tension that's going to be on show. They did show a section of gameplay, but it was just really short. And it was more to show off what your gravity gun can do, kind of, and just how the enemies mutate. But I kind of wanted to get more of a sense of the kind of story and atmosphere, I guess. With Hogwarts Legacy, I would have liked to have actually seen, so they showed, it was kind of like a dungeon crawling section deep in the darkest parts of Hogwarts or whatever. I would have liked to have seen the gameplay to that. I would have liked to have seen someone controlling that and actually going through. And that's what I would have loved to have seen. But what that section is that is a side quest that you don't have to do. It is that Slytherin buddy guy who you meet. Each of your friends who you can the people you can befriend in the game have their own personal stories. And so the Slytherin dude, if you go with him on his side quest, you will unlock the so in a Skyrim sense, take your shots. It's like a Dark Brotherhood quest. That's you can learn the dark arts if you go down that road, but you don't have to. But I was like, fuck yeah, it looks creepy and cool. And I was like, the dungeons look interesting to me. But I'd like to have seen, I was like, show me more. Don't cut me off here. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's like the game developers. Well, I know it takes time out of the development cycle to go put a presentation together. But at the same time, it's like, we really want to see, like, we want you to show us this stuff. It won't be a spoiler if you show us like 5 minutes straight of gameplay. It'll just be something that we actually want to see.
Yeah.
So, and then, the Callisto Protocol, there was interviews about, like, why there's the gravity gun, or how some of the mechanics in the game are going to work. For example, they said there's going to be like a 3D printer that you use for customization and stuff, and that's something that they're thinking about. It's like, if you're living on a planet and it's isolated, if they need new resources and stuff, they have to have the equipment on site there to deal with that kind of thing. So it sounded like the way he was talking about it was cool, because like there's a thought process behind it. Like, even that wood chipping factory that they were in for that section of gameplay is because they have an artificial forest on the planet, and so they have this like wood processing factory as part of that. I was like, it sounds cool. It sounds like they've really thought about, like, nothing's in the game for no reason. But I'd just like to see. I'm like,
exactly.
Show me more.
It's like it's just so weird that it's like, here's what we show you. That's very much like, okay, and then separately, here's what we're talking about. Okay, combine those two things. Like, I really miss the days of. Do you remember the announcement of Modern Warfare 2? And it shows you, it's the clip, it's a whole gameplay sequence of you going through the snow, climbing up the snow, and going through a blizzard, and then he has to take out the thing on his gun. It's like almost like the assault on radar, and he has to go, and that's how he sees people, and it takes you through that. Then you're like fighting a load of people, and do you end up getting away in a jet, or
on a jet ski?
Jet ski, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's taking you from a very simple
Not
beginning.
a jet ski. Sorry. Whoa. What are they called? I know what you're saying, but just for a moment, a jet ski goes on water. What's it called on snow?
Oh, a snowmobile.
A snowmobile. There we go. Sorry. Yeah. Yes.
It's very slow beginning, kind of going through, and then it just opens up into this thing. And as you're watching it, you're like, I know how this feels. I know how that feels while playing it. And I almost feel like I'm in control of it. And it's similar to Uncharted 3, right? It's a similar thing where you're going through the airport, and you end up on the plane, and it's like hanging out of the plane, but they don't give you the full thing. They just give you enough to kind of go, I want to see what's next.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Where is this?
Yeah. I agree.
Gone?
I agree with that. That's the kind of presentation I'd like to see. And this was what was weird to me. Like, so and Gotham Knights showed a villains trailer, right? And I was like, oh, Clayface, cool. Yeah. I was like, that's really cool. And I even liked the animation of him escaping and everything. I was like, that looks cool. And seeing Harley Quinn as a villain, I'm like, thank you, because my preferred version of Harley Quinn is the villain version, not this new anti-hero version, which is fine. And that version is going to be in Rocksteady Suicide Squad, really. So in this version, I like that they're doing a villainous Harley Quinn. But the next day, or like 2 days later, IGN showed off, and they've been doing loads of stuff with Gotham Knights this month, but they showed off the boss fight with Harley Quinn. It's a gameplay section. And I was like, so that material was ready to go, huh? Like, why wasn't that part of why wasn't that the follow-up to the trailer? It's like, here's the trailer, now here's some gameplay of like fighting one of the bosses in action. I don't know, just fucking, it's weird that all these things, like, there's just gonna be lots of separate clips, and I wonder if it has anything to do, I mean, there's loads of factors, but I wonder if it has anything to do with the likes of TikTok and YouTube Shorts. The reason I say that is that the way of marketing things nowadays seems to be like shorter clips. It's even like it changed.
Push it everywhere.
it changed movie trailers. Do you remember? Like we were always giving out about how there's a little short clip of the trailer and then watch trailer now and then the trailer. And the reason they've designed that is because as you scroll, that first little section will play first to make you pause and stop and watch the trailer. Now it's fucking annoying when you go onto your TV
watch the trailer
and you're going in with the purpose of watching that trailer, but it's designed for the scrollers. And I'm wondering if all these presentations are being designed for that kind of purpose. The shorts, the TikToks, I could be totally off, but it has changed.
Yeah, I wonder. It's just like it's so weird to something like Gamescom. Like how much gameplay did we see versus how many just title sequences and CGI trailers was there?
Yeah.
Very, 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 very little.
I think that's why When Winds Meet stood out to me, because
there was a mix of both.
It was a fair reveal for a game we've never heard of. It was a fair first look at a game, and that's
fair. A lot of the games kind of that look like they're taking on a Chinese, because I think there's now about 3 different games I've seen to have that Chinese mythology, that Chinese setting, and every time they've done an announcement, it's like a big, like Black Myth as well. The first time they showed that off, it was just
what's the other one? I knew you were talking about like When Winds Meet and then Black Myth Wukong. What's the other one? Or Wukong Black Myth? Is it?
I don't know. I didn't actually watch the whole thing because the whole thing was very long and it looked like it was sort of just a scene of dialogue.
No, sorry, the third game. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I can't remember the name of the third one. It's just that I've seen about 3, possibly more. Like, no, it wasn't on Gamescom. It was like
I can see the connect because I've seen the Winds Meet being described as a love letter to Tsushima, but it's like I think that would have been in development before that game was out.
I think it's more a love letter to Chinese cinema, like Crouching Tiger.
But you can see there is a kind of a connection a little bit visually.
Right.
Yes. When I saw it, I'm like, okay, graphically similar, but this to me looks like another Soulsborne or a Sekiro game.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Gameplay wise, I think this is a Soulsborne game.
I don't think it will be. Could be totally wrong. I mean, Black Myth is. Which is a shame to me because it looks fantastic, but I'm not into the Soulsborne games. But Black Myth is definitely a Soulsborne because every enemy you're fighting, it's a one-on-one fight. This one, it looked like he took on multiple enemies and he was in the air.
Well, you still take
arrows at barrels and blowing ships up and everything.
Multiple enemies though in the Soulsborne games. It's just generally your boss fights are kind of they're boss fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You take on very few enemies at once though. In those,
that's because
Bloodborne you take on quite a bit.
That you have to in those games. You have to isolate each enemy until you're like godly, because every enemy can be difficult, but you can take on a lot like at once.
Oh, okay.
But no, the idea of fighting like one-on-one bosses, that reminds me more of that Prince of Persia game on PS3. Every enemy you fought.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope it's not like that. But it's the idea of like
you are the only
jewels.
person who would remember that game.
Not even Nolan North remembers that game.
Oh, he remembers it. I remember him doing an interview where he was giving out about. He was like, "Shouldn't I have an accent?" And they were like, "No, just do your voice. Do your voice." And in that moment, he was like, I have been hired for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
You know, and there's something very wrong. Like, there's a beautiful art style to the game, but there's something very wrong with the way it was being made.
I agree.
Marketed. Yeah. But when the voice actor himself agrees, it's like, of course I'm going to do the job because I'm getting paid, but I fundamentally disagree with the decisions we made here. It's like, that says a lot.
It's like, I don't like this, but my bank account does.
But you brought up a Soulsborne. There's another game that's exciting a lot of people, right? It wouldn't be in my radar, but I have to bring it up because I just think it's so odd and bizarre. A lot of people are drawing comparisons of Bloodborne in particular, and that's Lies of P, right? We've seen this before, but I had no idea, not a fucking inkling. And even after watching it, not an inkling, unless you told me, which they had to, that's Pinocchio. Okay, so what I find weird about that, and okay, cool, I think taking a well-known fantasy story and giving it a twist or a turn is always cool. It's always interesting. And this does look interesting in and of itself. But you know when they made like Alice in Wonderland, like Madness Returns or whatever, right? And before they drop the name, at all, you just look at it and you go, "Oh, that's Alice in Wonderland." Like I just
Right.
know it's Alice in Wonderland. It's not necessarily based on the movie. It's not necessarily a direct adaptation of the book. But you're like, but it's Alice in Wonderland. You can just tell the DNA is there. I don't see anything of Pinocchio in this, except that the main character is called Pinocchio, and I imagine what's the father figure's name again? Is it Geppetto?
Something like that, yeah.
I'm sure he's in there.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's at the end of the trailer, Tepeshi. And then I
yes.
think as well, he has.
And Jiminy
Pinocchio-
Cricket, right? Does he have Jiminy Cricket?
Jiminy Cricket is in that little box. I'm assuming Jiminy Cricket is in that little box thing when he's all like,
Right.
come on, let's do this or something like that.
Yes, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's no one getting like I would have thought if you're gonna do this fucked up like take on Pinocchio, as opposed to fighting steampunk robots, you're maybe fighting people who have been transformed into human animal hybrids or something like that. I was like, I remember people being turned into animals in Pinocchio. But and it's like you're not even a puppet. And it's called Lies of P. Oh, okay. Does your nose grow as a game mechanic? I don't think it does.
Yeah.
As like a Soulsborne big fucking sword.
You use that to get over obstacles.
man.
You just tell little lies to and you just whoop, kind of just use your nose. To
This is the
balance
kind of
over a
game
gap.
to me though, where I feel like they had a concept,
Yeah.
and they were working through it, and then someone comes in and goes, "Yeah, but you know what's hot right now? Soulsborne."
Oh, sure. Right.
Yeah,
Like
I think
maybe
if you
a
can
change
just
direction.
slap a bit of that on that shit, cha-ching.
Isn't
I'm
that
just so sick of it. I think it's just so oversaturated, that genre. Like it really is. Like there's no kind of unique games anymore, really. It's like everything kind of fits into kind of similar categories all the time.
Yeah,
It's like where's the like remember Metal Gear Solid? Like
we did a whole
game
episode on
like
that. Where did it go?
But like the thing is with something like Metal Gear Solid is, right? How many other games are like it? There are stealth games.
Yeah, not exactly like it. There's no game
but
exactly like it.
How many games take that game mechanic of Metal Gear Solid?
Mhm.
They don't. So it's unique in that sense.
Hmm.
And how like there's not many games that do that. Like even even within the RPG space, there's like uniqueness within an RPG. And but in all these kind of and all these Soulsborne style games tend to all have the same kind of Lovecraftian look to them too. So they all end up looking similar.
Well,
as
I mean,
as
this
feeling
is
similar.
very just it straight up looks like his Bloodborne gameplay, even the kind of movement that and I know he's using an arm to propel some sort of bombardment of weaponry, but that's no different than when you're using your pistol or your rifle or your shotgun or whatever in Bloodborne. Yeah, they're all very. I think as well, one thing with the Soulsborne games that I quite liked when I played them was the idea that you're playing as a nobody plunged into these events, trying to kind of stop essentially the end of the world. That you are the lowly person. You're not a main character. You're not a named character. And I feel like that doesn't translate quite as well when you're playing as a main character. When you're playing as a named character who's dying and then getting back up and down. Like, it doesn't work in Jedi Fallen Order at all, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
It's like Jedi Fallen Order is a great game built around sort of a flawed mechanic, where it's like there's nothing actually wrong with the Soulsborne style games. Like they're perfectly fine for the people who are into them, but they don't fit in every category. You can't just slap that into Star Wars and suddenly that gels and works.
I don't think it worked at all for now. Sekiro does play very differently to the other From Software games, but I don't think it worked at all. And loads of people love that game, because I actually didn't. I think it was unnecessarily stupid hard.
Yeah, no, I think it's obviously a great genre, and if you're into those type of games, it must be great to see all these different games.
Yes,
but as someone who doesn't like these types of games at all, and
Every
also
game
doesn't like hero shooters, I'm seeing very little for me as a gamer.
Yeah, this is how people felt, I think, in like from the period of like 2010 to like 2014 about
when it was nothing but
first person shooters, just first
or
person
even
shooters everywhere, you know.
single player narrative gritty games. There was a period when that's all we had.
Yeah, but we were delighted.
That's great for us, but
great for us, but not great for. Absolutely, I
everyone.
agree, and it's like there, and that's I think that's what happens in the industry. We go through these lulls and highs of different. Like some game is going to be the shit, and then that's the hot shit for a while, and then everyone else
was
doesn't like but people who don't like that just have to be like, oh, I miss these games. You know, and sometimes that's what inspires game developers, you know, to get older and they go, I miss the games I used to play. I want to bring that back. And then they do. And then so it's an interesting trend. But I think what's funny about something you said, Adam, about the Liza P thing, where it's like it kind of maybe looks like it started off as let's make an interesting twist on Pinocchio, and then someone else went, oh, you know what you should do? You should put like a Soulsborne twist on that, right? I think what I find funny about that is it should be the other way around. It should be. Maybe it should be. Oh, we're making this like Soulsborne game, and then Disney come along and go, you know what you should do? You should slap a Disney like character on that to sell the shit out of it. Like it should be the other way around. It shouldn't be that the only way people are going to play a Pinocchio game is if it's Soulsborne, something like that. So that's funny.
I wonder though, like how much. If that is obviously that's huge speculation, we have no fucking clue.
But no, not at all.
If that is the case, it's like, how confident are you in the concept if you think you need to apply a very popular game style to it?
I actually
does it stand on its own?
Does it?
Doesn't have. Yeah.
I actually do believe though that this was always the idea.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good idea, personally. Now, in saying that, I think, and I'm not a like a Soulsborne player or whatever like that, and there's a bias here on my front, but I think it looks like a well-made game. I think the graphics look really good. I think the art style is really good, but I just think from a concept point of view, it doesn't. I don't see where it gels. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't see an interesting twist there. Like someone else is making some game, and it's what if Sherlock Holmes, what if Sherlock Holmes was in a Lovecraftian story, right? So it's Sherlock Holmes investigating the cult of Cthulhu, right? Never happened, but you're like, okay, that's fucking interesting because they're of a similar time period. Sherlock Holmes investigated weird shit and liked to find the rationale behind the weird shit. So it's like, so I could see Holmes and Lovecraft. I could actually see that. Pinocchio and Soulsborne. I just don't see it.
It's a bit of a stretch. It's a bit like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
I honestly would have done. Yeah, it's a bit like it is 100% like that. I would have honestly thought that like if you're gonna do like a dark twist on Pinocchio, I would have thought Little Nightmares.
Yeah.
That's the way you do it.
Am I being weird if I also say that it doesn't look like Italy?
You're being fucking really weird. I don't know.
Man, Italy isn't even real. Like,
man, are you? I don't know because I don't know what Italy looked like then.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, so I just looked at it. I just thought it looked a bit more like kind of 1800s France or something. Or 18, like it almost had those color tones and those. But maybe it's just because I've never seen much of 1800s Italy.
Yeah. I'm wondering, are you just
fair point.
Are you just being kind of? It's almost like when people see Mexico and it hasn't got the piss filter on it. It's like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah, it looks really nice. You're like,
It's like Mexico don't look like that in the movies, though.
I think what's interesting is that yes, with older buildings in those countries, especially if you go to like the fishing villages and stuff, that's where you'll see the different architecture. But I think largely like Europe in the 1800s all looked the same.
Pretty similar.
Pretty much. I think it's like it was hard to distinguish where you are.
I suppose as well, 21st century Europe probably all looks the same.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. It's like I don't know if that looks like Italy in 2021, you know, and it's like well, France and they all look kind of the same actually.
Although maybe, but maybe it is the color tones of the architecture. Because if you go to Italy, it has a much more. Maybe I'm wrong. You've been to Italy, Chris. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
I mean, I've been once, like.
Yeah, but it had like a kind of sandstony color tone to it.
It did, but it was there in the summer.
True, but if you go to France, it's
If you
got
turn
a
the
little bit
lights
more
off, it's not that color.
Yeah. I think the gameplay was all in the dark. I think.
Yeah.
You
I don't know.
It wasn't bright sunlight there.
I get what you're saying though. That you're more reminded of.
Well, Bloodborne.
You're
I'm
reminded
reminded of Bloodborne.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
100%.
A weird
100%.
game for Lies of P. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I know it's one of the ones that's exciting a lot of people, and I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who are like, that's absolutely on my wish list, especially anyone who loves Bloodborne. Like, Bloodborne is a really popular game.
But speaking of that, another one that kind of, I mean, Lords of Fallen is a Soulsborne game, but it showed you that in the trailer anyway.
All right, okay.
But Scars Above also looked like Returnal, or like just a shooter.
It did look like
Soulsborne
quite
game.
like Returnal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Returnal is not like that though. I must give Returnal a go.
It's start again, sort of.
Yeah, but I remember looking at it going, oh, here we go again. It's Hades, but in space. That's kind of the idea. But actually, when you look at the gameplay, and I was like, I can't wrap my head around this gameplay. So it's the developers of Resogun.
Yeah, isn't it Space Invaders in third-person view?
Pretty much. It is a third-person, like almost rhythm shooter. And yes, it does have that mechanic of every time you die, you come back. But it's more like, let's blend those two ideas together. As opposed, I wouldn't call Returnal like a Soulsborne.
But Scars Above was actually muted for me, and then I watched the trailer afterwards, and I was like, "Why was this muted? I don't hear any."
That's weird.
Song.
Yeah.
That was muted. It was very weird. That was one of the 5.
I know, like nothing really stood out to Adam. Where Winds Meet stood out to both myself and Eric. Eric, was there anything else that did actually like kind of catch your attention, or that you're like, well, I'm still excited for that. Like, it looks good, or.
I was just more kind of like, they're making a sequel to Lords of the Fallen. And I was like, I'm surprised by that. I do like the designs in those games, or that game.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Dead Island 2. I mean, that was spoiled for me before I watched Gamescom.
Oh, it actually wasn't for me. I didn't see that at all. That was one of the better presentations, I would say. Again, now I'm not saying that as like if you're not into Dead Island, then of course it's of no interest to you. However, just as we're going to show a game, it's like we're going to reveal a cutscene, like reveal trailer thing. Then we're going to show you a montage of what the gameplay is like, and then we're going to give you a release date.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. It's like perfect. If you're a Dead Island fan, that was gold right there. That was really good. So I thought it was a good presentation.
I did laugh during that trailer though, because I was like, what are the zombies all made out of watermelons or something? Like, it just bottle and half the face is gone, or he like chucks the shelves on top of your man and he just completely explodes, or he shoots him another chap with one bullet and he just mush.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are these guys made out of?
It's supposed to be just
so
mindless violence anyway. It's supposed to be
just, yeah. I played the first one.
Yeah, it was like I played the start of the first one, but I never actually played like the entirety of the game.
Have you played?
I thought it started really well.
Have you ever played any zombie game ever?
Yeah, I have actually.
Do you enjoy them?
I sometimes do.
Yeah, it's like that.
I usually enjoy them when they start with the word resident and end with the word evil, but not all of them.
Not when they're put on with real actors.
Although one could say Dead Space is also a zombie game.
Dead Space is zombie. Last of Us is a zombie game.
And as the last one, actually, you know what? Yeah, I enjoy zombie games. I enjoyed The Walking Dead even.
It's like it'd be like Dead Island a bit, and I think it's a bit, or Dying Light. It's a bit like there's.
Yeah, I haven't played Dying Light, but I used to mix the two of them up.
Yeah, I think there's another one that's a first person.
Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead. There's that. So it's that kind of you kind of fuck around. You're in an open world. Nearly anything is your weapon and stuff, and there's kind of an interesting story to it. I can't really remember it because it was years ago when I played it.
It's like a first-person Dead Rising.
Another one.
Yeah.
Dead Rising,
it has that. It certainly has that tone to it. But I remember the first one. The opening was really good. You woke up in the hotel and you were just sort of hung over, but everything is already in motion. But you didn't realize that, and the whole hotel is just trashed. And you're like, "The fuck happened last night?"
Yeah.
And then the more you go through, and then fucking zombies come at you.
Yeah.
And you're trying to run to the elevator and there's fucking blood all over the halls and everything. And you're like, this is fucking awesome. And then it kind of, so your tutorial section I thought was really strong. And then it does the whole open world thing. And it's like, at the time I was just like, oh, here, fucking, here's just a list of things to check off and I'm not interested. But as a basic concept, it was cool. And I did like for the Dead Island 2, Welcome to Hell A or something like that. I was like, haha, that's funny. That's funny. So that was a cool showcase, I thought. And it wasn't spoiled on me. Anything else stand out to you?
What was there? Killer clowns from outer space.
Don't fucking lie to me.
Yeah,
I know when
won't
you're
lie to you.
lying.
Won't
I
lie
can
to you.
tell. I can tell. I thought, and again, this is not. I'm not.
That was another one muted for me as well.
Oh, there was a song in that, all right.
Okay.
There was another game shown during it. It was one of the other big games, actually, I would say. And I say this as someone who will not be getting this game. I thought it looked really good. There's a weird sentence in it. I thought it looked really, really good. And that was Sonic Frontiers. I don't play Sonic games. I have no interest in playing Sonic games. But I think if you like Sonic games, I would be surprised if this. I saw earlier on people saying, "Oh, this new Sonic Frontiers game looks shit." Like it's like very early on. But I was like, after that, I was like, "Come on, look at that." Even the shot of the grass in the beginning, I was like, "That grass! Look at that grass! It's super impressive." And then just how fast you can move, I'm like, "Look at that!" And then just the vastness of the world that was on show there, the art style, the characters. I was like, "That looks great. That looks really fantastic. It looks like a very good game." So I was very impressed by Sonic Frontiers. Again, as someone I'm not going to be getting it. It's not, I don't play Sonic games. I have no real interest in getting it, but I thought it was a strong showing of that game. And it gave you a look at both gameplay and kind of story. So that was a good showing.
Yeah. Speaking of actually, because you like Destiny, Adam, what do you think of Destiny 2 Lightyear trailer?
I liked Destiny.
Adam, what happened, man?
What happened, man?
We need to treat this as like a therapy session. What's going on?
It's okay, man. It's
What's
okay.
happening?
Just
okay.
have a lie down there. We'll get our notes.
Games will get good again.
Well, that's the question I was going to ask. Is like, okay, so what's missing here? Like in terms of what type of game would you love to see here?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's missing.
Yeah,
PlayStation is what's missing, and it's because because now there's games that were shown that are coming to PlayStation, right? But PlayStation don't have their clutches on that game, and the reality is that for me, again, this is going to be like for someone, there could be people out there, and this was the best showcase of games ever, right? Every single game spoke to them, or at least most of the games or games they were into. Very possible. There's no point in saying, "Oh, well, there's no one going to like these games," right? Obviously, there is, but and it's not that I'm like a PlayStation fanboy. It just tends to happen that the games PlayStation fanboy. The games that PlayStation make tend to be the ones that really gel with me. That's just what tends to happen. All of like my favorite games tend to be PlayStation games. I don't know what that is, but that's just how it is. And because they were adamant about, well, it tells me they have a showcase on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Last 2 years, they did like an hour-long showcase in September. So there's one of them coming. Absolutely. Not only to highlight God of War Ragnarok, but I'd say to highlight future projects too. Final Fantasy 16 will probably get another showing there. But by not having those games thrown in here as well, I feel like there's just big heavy hitters missing. Like at the like God of War Ragnarok, we should be seeing that at every showcase.
It was odd to me. One of the things that really was odd to me was there was a slight awards section throughout.
Oh yeah, that was fucking weird.
And they were like I think it was like most anticipated PlayStation game or something like that. Like I can't remember the phrasing of it.
But it was like of the ones that are at Gamescom.
Right. Okay. I didn't understand the context of it because it's like, come on. Like,
yeah.
God of War would be like.
Well, I think I got that from because I think
up.
before that was the Xbox one, and it was like 3 non-big hitter Xbox games.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so this must be
just to do with the showcase.
smaller kind of people.
But here's the thing, right? Like with all the games that were announced at that, I'm not. I cannot say that those games are shit. Or I cannot say that because I don't know what they're like. But that's my problem.
Right.
My problem with the showcase was that I didn't see games. There was the odd few, but it didn't really give me a sense of how it feels to play these. It was mostly just concepts and trailers. That I don't know what to make of what I was shown, really.
Yeah.
But what was missing for me, at least in terms of adding a bit of variety, is we're losing a core kind of genre a little bit in recent years, or a good few years now. It's going back to the first person shooter, but it's a historical war game. And I don't mean just because there was the Call of Duty Vanguard, right?
Right.
But Call of Duty Vanguard got plagued by the hero shooter style of kind of gameplay because you've got the battle royale stuff in that as well.
Yeah.
And I heard it wasn't a very good campaign either. But going back to the PS1 days of Medal of Honor, you genuinely felt like you were doing a mission, a historical mission. So I'd like to see something that's as thrilling or at least dramatic as 1917, the movie, but make it it's a first person
Playable experience.
war game.
Right.
It doesn't have the grandiose, massive explosions because that just wouldn't make sense. It's like, a more grounded experience that is historically accurate, has all the great sounds that you get when you're reloading your weapons and things like that, like bullets flying over your head. Almost like the way Medal of Honor Frontline captured the opening of Saving Private Ryan, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's missing. But the thing is, if they were to make a game like that, they would do that, but they'd also give you the opportunity to give yourself a mohawk and spray paint your gun and stuff like that. They'd just make it wild. They make it crazy.
Yeah.
But we're losing that aspect, I think, of what makes games special in many ways is that it can transport you not just to fantastical worlds, but to relive stories that perhaps you weren't even born to remember or weren't involved in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's fucking missing.
Well, I think there's so there's 100 different answers to that question. What's missing? And it'll be different for every person who answers it. Like, so for you,
I think for me it's that. Yeah.
And for me, it was like the games that are going to be shown at the PlayStation Showcase that I guarantee we will prefer. But
maybe because I mean,
biased, but I think we
say that
will.
every year, right?
No, every year.
Every year we say PlayStation's missing.
The September PlayStation Showcase is always the better one.
Right. Okay.
It's better than their state of plays. It's the one where before is when they like fucking announced the PS5, they announced Final Fantasy 16, they announced God of War Ragnarok. The last one was when they announced fucking Wolverine and Spider-Man 2, and the September showcase is their best showcase, and then they do a couple of shitty state of plays, and one in a dime is pretty good. Honestly. Yeah. And you're always going, and that's why you watch state of play, because you go, I remember that showcase they did, it was great, but it wasn't a state of play, it was the September PlayStation Showcase. Yeah, it's better than state of play. But anyway, Eric, what for you was missing from Gamescom?
I don't really know, because more world premiere? No, not really. Just it's too fucking long. I already have these fucking state of plays and these summer game fests. And I've said this nearly every time we watch one of this shit. It's too fucking long. There's too fucking many of them. And then, yes, if it so happens to not have anything that grasps you, you have just wasted your time. But if you also have loads of others that have not been good, you're wasting loads of time for all these things. That's annoying. For me, what's really missing, will always be missing now, is more like a remake of Metal Gear Solid or something. Right? And Hideo Kojima, that was fucking awesome. the best bit of it. All he was doing was announcing a Spotify.
That was so bullshitty.
I
though.
disagree with you. I do.
That is so
I'm over.
No. But I know. But even at that, I wasn't excited to see him.
Yeah, same.
I was actually pissed off. I'll tell you the truth. Now, in saying that, okay, Hideo Kojima, amazing mind. He's got a podcast coming. You should probably listen to that instead of us. But it's gonna have way more insight and it's gonna be really fucking super interesting. But he just keeps showing up at these events
and not doing anything
with nothing.
Yeah.
I don't care that much about a Hideo Kojima podcast. Cool, it's there. I don't need that to be revealed at a Gamescom conference though. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
You could just drop that anywhere and like, by the way, like, and just say on Twitter, I've got a new podcast. Check it out. Great, cool. I'll listen to that. But like, we already know that there's 2 games Kojima is working on at the moment, right? And neither of them have been announced yet. So every time he shows up, I'm just like, oh, cool. We're going to find out what he's working on next. And then it's not. And it's usually just, I'm just here to say hi because I'm friends with Jeff and Jeff loves bringing me on. Like,
next time,
he's a selling point a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah. And
next time he's just going to come on and announce what he's having for dinner later.
Yeah. That's what I mean. And it's getting a little bit annoying because, like, yes, like I love Hideo Kojima. I want to know what he's working on next, but I don't see the point in it. Just like going. By the way, we have Hideo Kojima as like, like that's nearly like that's a selling point to the show. We got Hideo Kojima.
But is that a thing now? Right? Is
Fucking
announcing
weird.
podcasts now a thing?
I
And if
hope
that's the
not.
case, if it does, is it only is announcing podcasts only exclusive to the ones that are really high up in the market, like the people who've already made it, and the people on the bottom, like trying to release podcasts, are just not getting any airtime? Then obviously, I'm not referring to ourselves or anything. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Like there's
we're
people
below
who,
the bottom.
There's people who work their ass off. Oh yeah, we're like we're still starting. But there are people who work their ass off to like make a career out of a podcast.
Yeah.
And he just has to say, I'm launching one, and here you go. There's a platform. Here's the stage.
Yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with. I don't want anyone thinking there's nothing wrong with Hideo Kojima making a podcast. Don't get me wrong.
No, Gamescom is not where you announced that, though.
Yes, I agree. And having him come on just because it's Hideo Kojima, is like, I don't know. It could become a meme at this point, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good thing. Like, it's like, yeah, but it's Hideo. It's almost like the Keanu Reeves thing. I love Keanu Reeves, but there is that thing. I was like, yeah, but it's Keanu Reeves. Whoa, everyone goes wild. It's Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is in fucking Cyberpunk. You know? Whoa! Who gives a shit?
In fairness.
It better go on.
I'm not trying to be one of those.
No.
While I am a fanboy who loves Keanu Reeves, and yes, I got super excited.
Yeah, I know.
When he's fucking announcing Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's Keanu Reeves.
Yes, yeah.
He was actually kind of part of the best thing of Cyberpunk. Just his narration on everything.
Yeah. You're breathtaking. No. Eric, did you watch the latest Bill and Ted though?
No,
you call yourself a fan. I'm only joking. I've never seen any of those.
Neither have I.
Okay, so to sum up, basically, Gamescom didn't really blow any of us away.
Opening night live, didn't.
But actually, I'm curious. Are there any of those games, not necessarily based on what was shown at Gamescom, but just based on what has been shown even up to this point, what we already knew about the game? Are there any of those games that are definitely, at this point, you think a day one purchase unless something else comes out that really throws you off it? But is there anything that you're like, no, I will be getting that game? Like, regardless of what was shown at Gamescom, that was already a game that was maybe on my radar.
At Open Night Live?
Yeah, like, well, any of the games that you saw, even like during the last week of, like, there's lots of trailers. So,
like, but if I was to say
on YouTube, and
if I say Callisto Protocol, does that count?
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. Okay.
So Callisto Protocol.
Maybe.
No.
No, I'm asking you.
He was only checking.
Oh, he's only checking. All right.
Yeah.
If I say that,
if
does that
I
count?
say that, does that count? Yeah. No.
Only
okay, not that
only
one.
if you do. Yeah. Yeah. If I was to say, let's just say, for example, I just like make up a game, would that count? It's like, no.
Well,
Okay,
it's just like
well
you
then-
said at games revealed at Gamescom or within the last week. So I was just like,
Oh no, I said the games
just
that were
talking about the-
shown at Gamescom, and then I also I had a whole preamble on that, and it might be that you've seen stuff before Gamescom on that game.
Honestly, this assignment brief is unclear, Chris.
Fucking hell.
how many words are you wanting? 500?
Are there any games that
None.
absolutely none?
None?
No.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Adam's written.
Oh, actually, maybe. No, sorry. Hogwarts. I know it wasn't announced there, but Hogwarts.
That's what I mean. It doesn't have to be announced there. It was just shown.
It's okay, Adam. You're allowed to say that. I think we've clarified.
Hell. Oh my god. Okay, so
I think
Hogwarts.
yes. I'm pretty sure that would be a day one purchase. I'm not gonna commit to that, but I feel like I probably would maybe buy that when it comes out.
Cool.
Yeah, it'd be between Callisto and the Hogwarts Legacy.
Okay. Between they're releasing totally different months, like in different years.
Yeah, but I have a budget, Chris.
You don't have to
I
pick.
can only buy one.
You can pick
a
more
year.
than one. You can pick more than one.
No,
Eric.
man.
I
No,
said,
no.
are there any games? You don't have to
You're
pick
getting
one.
Day
You can-
one.
I don't
Jesus
understand the
Christ.
question.
Are there any games that you are going to buy day one?
Yeah.
What the
Maybe.
fuck
I
are
don't
they?
know. It depends. Because I might forget
That's
the
why
data.
Oh my
I
god.
might forget the data coming.
Okay, hold on. Eric.
Chris is gonna be ringing you up on
I
the release
don't-
day, going, "Did
Yeah.
you get it?
Did you get
fucking
it?
lied to me.
You lied to me. You lied on the podcast. Eric, I just need to clarify this. I know this was supposed to be a very quick question, but now it's fucking annoying me.
Adam only said mice. I'm saying mice. Why does he get away with it?
No. Okay.
I said might, as in it depends. If I start hearing bad things about the game,
Which is
that
what I
might-
said. I said that you might
put it
not.
off.
Right, well,
So-
same thing with Hogwarts Legacy Callisto Protocol.
Right. Hogwarts Legacy and Callisto Protocol at the
Would be on my
moment
radar.
are
Yeah.
day one purchases for you. At the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Fucking hell. Yes, same for me. Jesus. I think Callisto Protocol looks great. I think it looks fantastic based on what they've shown so far. I just wanted to see more. So that's, yes, I want to buy that. Unless something comes out later and it's like, oh, actually, that looks shit.
Do we have
But-
any idea when Dead Space is coming out?
The remake? I think
Yeah.
that's next year sometime, I think.
See, I kind of
It's
feel
not
like
this year.
I don't know. I think I was all in on the Callisto Protocol until Dead Space was announced. So I'm like,
Right.
Okay,
Well, it's
I
like-
actually might just go with that one.
That's possibly just unfortunate timing for
It is.
Callisto.
It is.
But I really like the passion of, what's his name?
don't know his name.
I've heard him talk. Is it something Glenn Schofield or something like that? Is it? No, Glenn.
I
It
don't
is
know.
Schofield.
I'm
It is
not- I'm-
Schofield. Yeah.
It is Schofield.
You're talking about the creative director chap, the guy who's
Yeah.
the face of it. Yeah, Schofield.
And he has actually, you should look him up. There's a great interview on YouTube where he talks about the original making of Dead Space and like the decisions that they made and how they broke down certain scenes and stuff. And it's great. So I think I'm just like, I'm interested to see what he does next. Obviously, yes, it is very Dead Space, but Dead Space has been lacking for a long time. And yes, it's unfortunate timing that there's a remake. Well, it's not unfortunate timing because it's great because you
Get
get
it twice.
more. However, it does then take a little bit of the steam away from this new thing.
Do you think that
What
only
I've-
happened because they announced the Callisto Protocol?
No,
No. Okay.
no. I think both were happening regardless.
Just.
Yeah, I
happened.
will admit that this
It's just,
is
I
good
think it just happened. I
this
think
is
they
a good
both
generation.
recognized
for horror.
it is a good generation for horror, yeah. But I think they both recognized the gap,
Yeah.
and they both went to fill it at a similar development time. Although in reality, Callisto Protocol, even though it looks very similar, probably takes longer, has been in development longer.
Yeah.
Because with a remake,
Lot
you're
more
not
to figure out.
you're not starting from zero, right? You're recreating that. Well, especially in the way that they're doing it, they're recreating that, but they're like, well, how can we make it better? What can we do? You know, with Callisto, they might have even gone through different variations of gameplay before they landed on, you know what? This just works. And the more we try and make it different, the more we're just doing that for the sake of making it different, and it's just not a good game or whatever.
They probably have
But I'm interested in what
mohawks or
story he
something in
comes up
Dead
with.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the spray paint your gun and everything.
and I'm gonna get Hogwarts Legacy unless something comes out about it. That's like it's awful. Because I wanted to get that for Ash anyway. So that's that done. What I won't be getting, however, was I thought I'd maybe be interested in picking up like the collector's edition, but they revealed during the week what the collector's edition was, and it doesn't look good. So
Is it expensive though?
Yeah.
I heard what was in it, and I was like, well, what's in it sounds okay for a collector's edition.
Yeah, it was expensive. Yeah, it was expensive enough. Like
price now, yeah.
And well, I saw the unboxing and I watched what it is, and it's like I just don't see the point in it.
There's a cloth map or something, isn't there?
No,
Oh,
that
there's no
would
map?
be.
Oh,
There is a map,
right.
and if it was a cloth map, it would be better because maybe you can
Oh.
hang it up, or maybe it's this plastic book that's constantly open, like as if it's an ancient book that's open, and the map
Okay.
is on the open book. And then I was like,
oh, I see. Okay.
you get me? And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
if
That's
it was a real book that came with it, with like a bestiary or something, or like little lore or art or something, and then the map happened to be in it, I was like, that would actually be way cooler than what it was. And then there was this little kind of wand, and then there's like a magnet system, or whatever, and this is probably what makes the whole thing kind of a little bit pricey. But if you put the wand just above the book, it floats, and that's supposed to be like, Matt, you're doing magic.
Leviosa.
Yeah, but I was like, yeah, you'd really want to be like 12 to enjoy that.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not.
And how much is it looking at?
It's like a typical collector's edition thing. Like this was a UK.
What's typical these days, though? You know, like
This was like a
300
UK
quid?
site, so it was like 200 and something pounds, like
Oh
270
my.
something pounds or something. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's not cheap. Yeah,
That's gross.
you make me sick.
That's shit. You know what, though, as well? I bet you anything that wasn't developed by them. They just scoured AliExpress to see what they could buy in bulk to throw in with the fucking thing.
Right, give that magnet a facelift. Because it is obviously it's two magnets, right? It's two magnets,
Right. Yeah.
Is obviously how it works. But anyway, we're coming to the end of the discussion. Is there anything else from the week that you wanted to talk about or highlight? Or is that too difficult a question? before we finish, before we finish, like, what do you mean by that?
Us any more questions now?
Like, I don't have a highlighter, so how can I highlight? Like,
but what is a week? Like, where does the week begin and end? You know,
well,
just constantly
I tell you
goes
where
in a
this
circle.
podcast begins and ends at the start, and it ends right now. Thank you very much, everybody, for checking out this week's episode. And of course, we'd love to hear from you guys. You might have very different opinions to us on what was shown at Gamescom or how Gamescom was even presented. Or maybe you share some of the same opinions and you want to highlight how you felt about some of the games. And let us know which games caught your eye or which ones are day one purchases for you in particular, and why is that? So if you watch this YouTube, jump down to the comments, share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this discussion, when it gives a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring that notification bell. If you guys listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base, social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on Gamescom and all of its reveals. Thank you very much for checking out this week's episode. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.